Good evening. Social intelligence, what is it? It's very important for humans because without social intelligence, we cannot converse, we cannot understand each other. And perhaps one of the most important capacities is reading each other's minds, understanding other people's thoughts, intentions, preferences, characteristics, and so on. Now, you might think, I'm a social psychologist, I'm an expert in this. That's false. You are all experts in this because we are humans. And this is an almost unique human capacity. We're all very good at it. But you might wonder, where does it come from? Is this some mysterious sixth sense? No, it isn't. It's the social brain that is doing this. And to understand this, we have to go to the prehistoric past, evolutionary past of humans, and then look at their predecessors and so on, and you will see that some species, apes and so on, began to live together and collaborate together. And this brought, of course, a number of important advantages, such as larger prey, defending yourself became easier, division of labor, and so on and so on. But this also came at a cost. You need a lot of computational power because sometimes people might have differences of opinions, what the best strategy is in preferences, and you have to resolve all these social conflicts. Needs a lot of effort, as you are probably aware, when people don't have the same meaning and opinion. So you needed a lot of volume, and this is termed the social brain hypothesis, and there is some evidence for it. Because if you look at this picture, you see on the vertical axis group size, or the number of members in a group, and on the horizontal axis, brain ratio, or the volume of the brain compared to the body. And as you can see, over time, there is a close relationship with between the number of members in a group and the volume of your brain. But now, we don't know exactly what happened in the past, but we do know a lot more about the social brain because of the evolution the last 25 years in neuroimaging. So we learned a lot about the social brain. And what are the key areas? To demonstrate this, imagine this is an X, and I do like this. Poof, I cut my social brain in half. That's the front part. Yeah, I have a problem. I have to put my brain together again, so I need to bolt it here, somewhere at the ears, and this is also an important key mentalizing social brain area. These are two of the most important brain areas involved in reading the mind of others. So as an overview, you have the front, and there the function is, who is that person? In the middle, on the side, where is this person going to? What's the intention? And at the bottom, in the back, the cellar of the brain, it's about the order. What is the order of the action? And I will go through these functions one by one, and for doing this, I need you. Because you are my guinea pigs for tonight. And you will experience what is going on in people's mind, and then I will show you where in your brain exactly computations took place. Right? Are you ready? So the first one is easy. Social knowledge. For this, look here, the front of your brain. Look at the pictures now and tell me, or you don't have to tell me, but at least try to figure out what this is about. What person characteristic, trait characteristic is this about? Most of you probably thought about violence, aggression, anger, and so on, right? Okay, something happened in your brain that was able to identify this. Okay, next one. Now it's about a person. Try to figure out who that person is. When I was younger, I know, waiting 2 years took a lot of my gray hairs. So, what happens is when you were doing this, By repeating that information about aggression, by repeating the information about an individual, we can identify the brain areas that are representing that information, where the knowledge resides, and that's in the front. And as you can see, the areas that are involved in trait information or person information, and a large overlap in orange, which makes sense because when you think about, for example, loved ones, your mother, your father, your best friend, you immediately think also in terms of their trait characteristics. What kinds of person are they, friendly, and so on and so on. So that's the major first function of the social brain, building knowledge about people. Now, the second, also very important, capacity function is to switching to social perspective, switching away from your own perspective to the perspective of others. And to explain this, we go back in the evolutionary past, and we look at a very close area, very close by to this area, an area that's involved in detecting biological movement. Why is this so important? Imagine a prehistoric human that doesn't have this capacity. A stone is rolling from a hill. What do? You step aside, there is the rock. No harm done. A lion is running up to you. You follow the same strategy. I don't think that brain will survive for a long time. So you need to make a distinction between biological movements and no movements, biological movements, and in addition to infer where is that lion going to. Is he chasing me, somebody else? Oof, I'm out of danger, or I have to go somewhere else and react accordingly, flee for, get out of danger, and so on and so on. So, figuring out where this other person is going to and whether he's a friend or an enemy is very important. And that's what this is doing. But inferring intentions of other people is a relatively simple inference. A more difficult one is when your reality differs from that of other people. We call this false beliefs or outdated beliefs. Other people believe something that comes from the past, but that has changed since. For example, in this task, Sally has a red ball, and she puts it in her basket. Then she goes away. Naughty Annie sees this, and she says, that's the occasion to pick it out from the basket in my own box. Upon returning, where will Sally look for the red ball? Now, children, before the age of 3 years old, 4 years old, most often say, the box, because that's what they saw last. And I think perhaps some of you thought the same. But think carefully. Actually, Sally only knows that the ball was in her basket, and that's the correct answer, right? Now, to illustrate this, again, another quiz. Now, you have to raise your left hand when it's left, and you rattle with your right hand when it's right. Okay? So left, lift, right, rattle on your own body, the body part of your neighbor, whatever you want to do. Don't hurt yourself. Okay, I walked through the first one together with you. We have a boy, and only answer when you see the question mark, right? You can answer now? All right, the majority is correct. It's right. He can see everything that happens. Now it becomes more difficult. Yeah. The rattling is not entirely correct. Watch out, it's not that easy. As I said, it's a difficult task. I will make it even more difficult. Now you have two kids, the boy and the girl, and the question mark will appear next to the boy or next to the girl, and you have to tell me what the boy or the girl thinks, right? You got it. We'll make it more difficult now. Most of you got it. And the last one. Okay, you got it. So this illustrates understanding false beliefs, and especially those beliefs that differ from yours, are very difficult. The most difficult things to do. And doing this experiment under the scanner in our lab, we found out that when the two kids were present, and so had true beliefs that coincided with our beliefs, then nothing really happened here, not much. When there was one false belief, it increased a little bit, the activation. And when there were two false beliefs, so the two kids didn't know what really happened, it increased much more. So this brain area is really involved in switching attention from the way you see reality to understanding how other people see reality. Now you have to understand that's a major achievement in intelligence, because instead of thinking about reality, tools you use, you have to think about things that don't exist anymore, that existed perhaps in the past, in somebody's head still, but you can't see them. So we have to imagine the non-existing things. That's a major step forward in human intelligence. And secondly, you have to make conscious, explicit what you are thinking about. You have to think through what other people believe. And even when you make a conversation, people have to express what's inside their heads and make it conscious to themselves and to the other listener what they are thinking about. So that's a major achievement in human intelligence and especially in social intelligence. Now let's go to the last function, storing social stories or social sequences. Social stories are important, as I said, because it's about the sequences in which we act socially, in which we interact. And there's a lot of routine involved in social interaction. As I told you, if you enter the door for other people first, it's much more friendly than when you enter the room yourself first. If you attack a person first, or when you simply react in self-defense. It makes a lot of difference. Now, these social routines are also important because they free your brain, your social brain, for doing importing and resolving important social questions. So, this area is in the back of the brain. It's almost at the cellar, and this brain area is known for being involved in motion. Stepping, learning to step, to walk, to drive a car, to ride a bike, even to write, and so on. But we discovered during the last 5 years in our lab that actually the back part of this is also involved in the order of social actions, and it's very important, as I told you. Now, important is that this large brain has 16 billion neurons, and this takes part in the smaller brain, the little brain or the cerebellum. And you might not have guessed it, but now you probably guess it. It has much more neurons available for learning and automatize all these things. And you will never forget this number because it's a very sexy number. All right. Now, how did we discover this? Well, we took the same task. Two kids looking at flowers they see on the screen, but sometimes they are turned away from the flowers and they don't see the flowers anymore, so they hold false beliefs, outdated beliefs about these flowers. And then I walk you through this task because in actuality they had to do this as fast as possible. So we will do this slowly. He sees one. He still thinks one. She sees two. Still two for her, and he still thinks one. And this goes on and on and on. What people don't know is that actually after about 20 trials, we continue and we repeat this sequence. So there's different order of flowers, number of flowers, the position of the boy and the girl, and then we repeat it all. And what we see happening is that after each repetition, they go faster and faster and faster. They learn about this order without knowing this. And when we change the order, all of a sudden they take a lot of time and they tell us, yeah, all of a sudden it became difficult. And then when we reinstate the task and the order, then it becomes easy for them again. That's how we know that they learn this sequence. And when under the scanner, we learn that the back of their brain, the little brain, is involved in learning these sequences. But they do this without consciousness. They learn how to automatize these sequences, and so they free up the other parts of the social brain to focus on the really unexpected events when they occur. So to summarize, we have in the front where we store knowledge about who people are. In the middle, we switch our orientation to that reality of other people that might be different from us, that is false in our view. And finally, at the back of the brain, we learn about sequences and routines of social actions that free up our social mind for really important issues that are unexpected. And that was all, and I thank you for your attention and collaboration at the quizzes.